Hi, I'm Jason from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more Pauper. This is GlintBlade. This is a deck I actually just played a couple of weeks ago, but I had no way of knowing that Aetherdrift was going to give us Grim Bauble, which looks like a sweet new card for this deck, specifically, maybe a couple other decks, but I think this is the main one it's going to shine in. When it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2. It's a single black mana. It also can sack to Surveil, which is not bad, but this allows us to have a 1-drop to pick up with Glinthawk, which makes it so that we have kind of a Boros Synth 1-mana artifact that we can pick up with Glinthawk. Of course, it doesn't get the trigger when it leaves the battlefield, so I'm not saying it's as powerful as Synth in any way. But on your turn 3, theoretically, you could play a Grim Bauble, pick off a 2/2, Glinthawk, pick up the Bauble, play the Bauble again, pick off another 2/2, or you can say pick off a 4/4 with like a Mirror Enforcer. It's kind of a bolt, snap, bolt for Pauper, which is kind of cool. I think it's going to be really strong. Tithing Blade is that does not really show you what Tithing Blade does. I guess I got to do it like this to make it so you can actually see Tithing Blade. Tithing Blade was a powerful card and really what made this deck a thing. But it got outclassed very quickly as an edict because of all of the Eldrazi spawn that we get from Basking Broodscale, Writhing Chrysalis, and Malevolent Rumble after Modern Horizons 3. So I think having the targeted -2/-2 is going to be really helpful against Arbor Elves, against Fairies, against Mono Red to pick off Tomb Raiders, anything like that. I think that this card is going to shine. I actually think it's going to kind of usurp Tithing Blade as the main artifact you want to pick up with it. And of course, Refurbished Familiar is a great artifact to pick up as well. So we're still playing 3 Tithing Blades. I just want it to take a back seat to see if we can get Bauble to really shine. Of course, the deck has a couple of Lembas to also find us some cards. And in addition to our Glinthawks, we have Skyfishers to pick up all of these permanents. Skyfishers also combo really nicely with Omen of the Dead. We can kind of loop these to recur the core Skyfishers infinitely from our graveyard. For removal, we have the Baubles and the Tithing Blades, but we also have a Suffocating Fumes, just a 1-of, Cast Downs, and Thraben Charm. So this deck is just stocked with removal. This is the removal deck, except for, I guess, Golgari Gardens. But this is another removal deck. We have 4 Deadly Disputes for card draw and Inspectors for card draw as well, and then some Ephemerates to re-trigger our Familiars is probably the best hit, even our Skyfishers or our Glinthawks, to rebuy any of our artifacts. Our mana base is just a bunch of artifact lands to be able to play the Refurbished Familiars, as well as Kabira Crossroads and Bajuka Bog, a little bit of incidental value, and Orzhov Basilica to pick those lands back up and get even more value. Sideboard, pretty standard here. We have some Dust to Dusts, Thraben Charms, Standard Bearer, pretty standard there indeed. Extract a Confession, just as an edict that gets around small guys, so if we play against Bogles, we have an out, even if they have like an Eldrazi spawn or another creature. Another Suffocating Fumes and Arms of Hadar, and then Navigator's Compass, which is a great artifact to side in against Mono Red, so that you can gain a bunch of life instead of anything else that's less relevant in that matchup. So let's jump into some games right now. All right, round 1 here. We have pretty reasonable opener. Tithing Blade, Refurbished, we could do either of those on turn 2. Just a lot of good utility and removal in our other cards. Ideally, we're against a creature deck. In general, when we're playing this deck, we are a removal deck, so we want to be against creature decks. But especially with this hand, it would be really good. We play an Islet. That reads to me as my worst nightmare, Turbo Fog. So that's the opposite of a creature deck, if that's what it really is. Tangled Islet could be something else. Could be like a Teamer Ramp or Teamer Writhing Chrysalis Terror. Like I've seen some weird wacky lists for those decks. But the one I see the most with this is Turbo Fog. And Unwind does not tell me any differently. Oh, Urza's Mine. Okay. So it's Tron. That's actually pretty interesting. Could be like not Turbotron. Could be, what kind of a Tron? Flickertron is probably what Tangled Islet would mean. So we don't really need to leave anything up. So I think we just play this Glinthawk, hope it resolves, and pick up the Familiar, play it again. Did. Okay. I mean, this is a pretty fast start and also taxing their hand, so it's not bad. Pulse and Marasa, yeah, that's a lot of life that they lose there. Impulse. Still not really a creature deck that we're going to be able to take advantage of all these cards with, unfortunately, but better than Turbo Fog, I would say. They're going to crop Rotation. Okay, that means they could hit Tron this turn, and they do. Energy Refractor. But going to pass there. Attack for 4 and play a Novice, and I guess we leave up a Thraben Charm. Worst case, we crack a Clue. We have a 3-turn clock here. They got to make something happen, which is good. Also, Thraben Charm's going to be good, because if they are Flicker Tron, which is my suspicion, then having a way to interrupt a graveyard loop would be good, and will be. While we're tapped out, they're going for a Teachings. Okay. I have a bad feeling they have like a Breath Weapon in their main deck, and they do, so they can wipe our board here. So that's pretty annoying. Okay. Omen of the Dead is a nice start. I can Omen back a Refurbish to make them discard a card and then blow up their graveyard. So they only have one card in hand. I think that's our best bet. That Breath Weapon is pretty annoying, but we can't really let them Teachings for another card, because then they're going to probably be able to find, I don't know, something to draw cards or just something bad. They discarded Dinrova Horror. You know, let's just get rid of their graveyard. If they have all this mana, but they don't have anything to spend it on, then I'm okay with that. So there it goes. They do have one card left, and it's better than a Dinrova Horror, so that's unfortunate. Lorien Revealed. Yep, that's pretty good. Bojuka Bog is not a bad draw. Let's just attack for 2. Cycle this Fumes, because I don't think it's going to be relevant. Vault of Whispers. I think we're just going to play the Tithing Blade and get it flipped so we can start draining for life. So we can speed up the clock a little bit. Not really the match I wanted to play against when Grim Bauble's the card we're testing out, but I guess it's fine. They have another Lorien Revealed. Okay, pretty annoying. I mean, it is a 7 mana draw 3, seeing as they have to filter for the blue, but that's still pretty good for them. And then a Deep Analysis, so they're all the way back up to 7 cards after a couple turns. Pretty annoying, especially since we're drawing nothing good. We could Bojuka Bog them just to get a Deep Analysis. I don't think that's really worth it, so I think we'll just wait on it for another couple turns. They have a Mystic here. Okay, so I guess Cast Down will be decent. They have an Energy Refractor again. Let's hit them for 1. And we're just drawing lands. I guess I should have upkeep stopped with an Omen of the Dead. If I attack with this Familiar and they just have like an Impulse, then they trade for it, which I don't really like. But if they do, it's possible we'll be able to cast this down and they won't have a counterspell for it. So I guess we'll give it a try. Oh, I guess these are towers, so they will be able to. Well, they have a Moment's Peace, so they get to prevent the damage, which means they actually can't kill it with a bird, so that's cool, I guess. Let's try to cast this Mystic down. And I guess we'll take a Moment's Peace and a Deep Analysis from their grave. Not as much as I would like still, but better than nothing, I suppose. Pulse of Marasa back the Murmuring Mystic. Well, that's pretty annoying. They've seized the Storm. I guess they're trying something interesting, at the very least. It's a 4/4, because some of the cards we've exiled have had flashback. Attack for 1. We gotta cycle this Omen for something. Glint Hawk and a Cast Down. I don't really think anything is going to get us out of this at this rate. I can get a Glint Hawk, rebuy a Familiar, take a card, or I can cast this down, but we're just dying to this stuff. So I think we're going to go to the next game. I guess Dust to Dust are decent against Energy Refractor. That's really all we saw. Raven Charms are coming in. So it's not Flicker Tron, it's just a weird Seize the Storm, Murmuring Mystic deck. Okay. Grim Baubles unfortunately feel really not good here. Don't see anything really to kill with these except for birds. Same with the Tithing Blades. This is going to be a mulligan. I guess this one's fine. Go back an Omen. Start with an Inspector. They have a Tributary. Attack for 1 and just crack this Clue. Goldmire. Another Dust to Dust. Don't really want 2 of these. I'm not even sure I want the one of them. Play a Bridge and pass. Play a Mine. Back for 1. We'll play a Glint Hawk, I guess, for little value. Replay it, play a Novice Inspector, and pass. They have a Breath Weapon. We at least have a Deadly Dispute. They did not. They do have Semi-Natural Tron, though. Crack a Clue and see if they want to wipe the board. No. Attack with the team. Play a Basilica. Pass. They have a Teachings, so that's going to find it. More than likely. Breath Weapon, that is. Yes, indeed. Cycle a Lorien. For Annihilate. Deadly Dispute, one of these guys. We have a Thraben Charm. Something. I got an Inspector. Not Inspector, a Familiar. So we'll play that. And pass. They have a Murmuring Mystic. Let me try to cast it down. They have the Prohibit. I will Ephemerate to try to make them discard some more cards. They discard an Ephemerate, so they are a bit of a Flicker Tron deck. Hit them again. Discard a Deep Analysis. We get another familiar. Well, we can take most of their hand again, but didn't really work out for us last game. Weather the Storm. Nothing to Dust to Dust, and I guess they're going to be left with this Murmuring Mystic, but I am going to exile that graveyard. Play this and pass. I guess these were not good cards to bring in. I thought that they would be playing more artifacts. Muldrifter. Another Muldrifter. We have another familiar. Doesn't do too much. They have a Seize the Storm. Flash it back for like a 2/2, 3/3. Play another Muldrifter, because of course they will. Why wouldn't they have another one? Attack for 1. Skyfisher. So we'll play that. I discard a Power Plant. Attack with 2 Bird Illusions, and I have a Skyfisher. This kind of makes me think they have another Breath Weapon, although they'd lose all their Muldrifters. But I guess we would lose our... they would keep their Elemental, and they can attack in for 4. But, if they want to do that, that's fine, I guess. Nope, they just pass. We have an Ancient Den. Pass back. They scry with their Campus. Crop Rotation. Into a Pylons. Scry. Surveil to the top. Pass to us. We get a Vault of Whispers. Phenomenal. They scry to the top and keep it. We get a Deadly Dispute. I mean, we'll try to do that. See if it eats a counterspell. It does. They have a Teachings. I'm going to get out of this game. Alright, this one's keepable. But not perfect. I wouldn't mind a untapped black land, so I can go like Novice turn 1, and then turn 2 maybe a Bauble, and then, you know how it is. Hey, there it is. I mean, if they don't play something on turn 2 here, it's not really going to matter. Contaminated Aquifer makes me think they just run out like a Seer. Maybe we get them with the Grim Bauble, but looks like they're going to just leave it open. I'll swing for 1, and I'll pass back to them. They Thought Scour, so it's Terror, looks like. Cycle Alorian. Pass to us, we'll crack our clue. We're drawing lands. Attack for 1. Play Goldmire Bridge and pass. Cycle Alorian. Brainstorm. They play a Terror. Well, playing against the deck where Tithing Blade would be better. Top decking 1 would be cool. If not, we'll just cast this guy down. But it's going to take our whole turn. Hey! We did top deck 1. That's kind of sweet. Let's play that. Hope for no foil, I guess. Actually caught a bit of a break. We get to Glint Hawk that back, and then we have that plus 2 cast downs. Play our Basilica this turn and pass. Start with a Mental Note. They hit 2 Sneaky Snackers. Okay, not really what I wanted to see. They Mental Note again in their upkeep, so get both Snackers back. I mean, Grim Baubles can take out Snackers, so if they feel comfortable with a Terror now, well, I guess they didn't. Or didn't have one at least. Just gonna pass. Another Skyfisher is pretty good. Well, a first Skyfisher. Attack for 3. I'll play the Skyfisher, see if it resolves. If so, I'd pick up the Inspector. It does not. So let's Grim Bauble one of these guys away. I don't want to hit both of them because then they bring them both back for just drawing 3, and I'd rather pick off one of them at a time. So if they do that, then we don't waste all of our removal, on guys that are coming back. They're attacking for 2. I think I might Grim Bauble in our upkeep because we don't really have anything we want to play, unless if they play like Terrors here, in which case I might want to search for something. Looks like I will. So let's sack that. I guess if we leave anything on top, they might Thought Scour us. That'd be kind of funny. We're going to bin this Vault and keep the Omen on top because I can get back a core Skyfisher. They don't. Let's play this. Let's attack for 3. And I think we're just passing. If we Omen here, they're probably going to have something. Oh, they have 4 mana to snuff out our Glint Hawk. That's fine. Okay, they do that for full cost. In that case, I'm going to Omen here because... they can really only have a Spell Pierce. I think this should resolve. We can get our Skyfisher and then buy back the Omen. And they can't really counter this either. And we'll pass. They play an island and attack for 2. They could be main decking Unexpected Fangs, and so these would trade. It wouldn't be terrible, but I don't see a reason to take that. Let's just do this. It's also possible they're going to draw 3 anyway. so they might as well get the attack in which case, you know, we waste some damage, some life, but that's okay. Ooh, Thraben Charm is really good, because that means we could kill this now, and then if they go for a draw 3, I could try to exile them both. But if they have a counter spell, then it just comes back, so I don't know if that's worth it. We do have a lot of removal though, so maybe we do throw out a Grim Bauble just to try it. We're going to attack for 3 here, see if they have another Snuff Out or anything. They don't. Yeah, I guess if we Grim Bauble and then they have a Brainstorm and then I try to Thraben and they have a counter spell in response, they get both their guys back and then I have to start using real removal on them, so I think it's fine. If they go for it now, I'll still probably try to, like a Brainstorm there, I would still probably try to Thraben Charm them. Also, I don't mind taking their graveyard just to make terrors more expensive. But I think we're fine for now. Them having this and attacking us for it too is not a big deal. They do have the Fangs. Okay, that's fine. So I could cast this down. It's 3 life. It's not that big of a deal. I think I'd rather Grim Bauble it. If I cast it down, though, maybe they have like a Deep Analysis they'll cast, and then I can get them with the Thraben Charms. The single one, not multiple of them. Yeah, let's try that. Just for the sake of, just because I think it's possible that they'll like go for a sorcery speed, draw 3, or draw 2. Let's cast it down. Because I feel like they're trying to entice me to kill it with the Unexpected Fangs. Maybe I'm wrong. We have a Familiar, that's not bad. Attack for 3. They have a Brainstorm. Here's the problem. In response to the Brainstorm, I can Thraben Charm. But then if they have another Brainstorm, they can actually trigger it again. But if I wait until the Brainstorm has already triggered, then they could get their counter spell more easily. So that's a tough call. They've already used 1 Brainstorm, so they'd have to have 1 of 2 more. So I think it's probably better to try it before. So let's go for it. Try to exile their graveyard. If they have the counter spell already, obviously this doesn't matter. Oh, they concede. Nice. So that was definitely going to work. All right, here we get more Thraben Charms because, of course, Extract a Confession because they're Terrors and Gurmags. Suffocating Fumes isn't bad because it can still get rid of Sneaky Snackers at instant speed. The Grim Baubles are not great in this matchup because all they kill are Snackers, so I think I'm going to cut a couple of them. I really want to show them off, but if we keep running up against matches where they suck, then they're not going to be good. But if we go up against, like, the decks where Tithing Blade isn't good, like Mono Red, White Weenie, like that's when Grim Bauble I think is going to be good. This hand looks decent, so we're going to keep it. We needed an artifact for this Glint Hawk, but of course we took out a couple of the baubles. But Thraben Charm for if they get an early grave, removal, etc. seems okay. The Juka Bog's good. We're not going to start with that because we don't want to waste it, but that allows us to like pick off, 3 or 4 spells on their grave, maybe a Snacker on turn 2 or 3, and then also have a Thraben Charm for the later and mid-game graveyard. Just going to pass here. Another Thraben Charm. Okay, well, we're just passing. We're not going to miss a land drop, though, so if we don't draw another land, we're going to play this Bojuka Bog even if they don't have much in their grave, but they are Thought Scouring here. Hit a Sneaky Snacker and a Cast Down. Okay. We're going to wait for them to go for like a Brainstorm before we Thraben Charm. They just play a land and pass, so if we Bojuka Bog them, we also got a Lembas. Yeah, so I Bojuka Bog them, they have to go for like a Brainstorm with the Snacker, and then I could let that resolve and then cast down the Snacker again to kill it. I think that's probably the best thing to do. I could just play the Lembas, but that also just gets like Spell Pierced and they still can like Brainstorm. I don't really like that. Okay, nice. So if they just let that go, I will go for the Lembas, and if it does get Spell Pierced, it's fine. Or annulled, potentially. But I don't, now that we got the Snacker and the couple cards out of the way, I don't really feel like I need to leave these up this turn. Nice, Lembas resolved, that's pretty good. We're looking for, honestly, land wouldn't be terrible. We're not going to get rid of a Glint Hawk. We only have 1 white mana, but still seems pretty good. If we cast 1 and they counter it, maybe we can just like Deadly Dispute the Lembas, which is what we want to pick up the Glint Hawk, so that's not great. Get another Plains, maybe we could just like Omen of the Dead, pick up the other Glint Hawk or something. Got some options. They're just passing to us without even a land drop, so that's pretty good. We got a Basilica, okay, that's something. So let's play our Glint Hawk. It's not going to resolve, that's a counter spell. Okay. This is tough, because I want to Basilica pick up the Bog, I think that's the best. So maybe I just Omen here. If they have the Annul or the Spell Pierce, they get me. But if they had a Spell Pierce, I think they would have used it on the Lembas last turn, so let's just go for an Omen. Ooh, maybe I was wrong. They either just drew it or they kept the Spell Pierce for that reason. We do get to pick up this bog, which is good. I guess I could have just left the Omen open. Like, I wanted to use the mana, I guess, before the bog, but I'm not actually going to use this 1 mana for anything, so that may have been silly. But that's okay. Because I could cast it there, and then they at least have to tap a little bit there. There's a Deadly Dispute. Let's play Glint Hawk. See if this gets countered. If it does, we're probably Deadly Disputing the Lembas. There's a counter spell. Because other than that, I'm Deadly Disputing the Vault of Whispers. We do have lands, and I kind of want the Lembas for whatever I draw into. I guess maybe we are just sacking this Vault. I don't love sacking lands this early, but see if they have another Spell Pierce, I guess. But yeah, Core Skyfisher is why I want to keep that. We're going to Bojuka Bog this, so we hit our land drop and get rid of their guys. Do I just want to lay down the Skyfisher and pick up the Lembas here? While they don't have Counterspell mana, I think that's fine. So we at least get the Lembas back, and then we'll bog away their spells. I mean, we're not, like, in an insane spot, but we're doing well. I think keeping them from doing what they want, which is filling their graveyard, while we're getting some moderate value. We do have... They missed a land drop, so they're at 3 lands. We're at 4 mana's worth of lands, technically, so we're a little ahead there. They're about to draw their 6th card, so we do have a 2-3 on board. We're definitely a little bit ahead. They cycle a Lorien, so hitting their land drop and filling their grave a little bit. There's a Snacker. There's another Thraben Charm. Okay, well, I'm going to start with a Lembas, maybe try to hit a land drop. If I find a Glint Hawk, I'm not turning it away, though. Same with the Skyfisher. We're going to swing here, because if they chump, I'm just going to pass, and if they go for a Brainstorm, I'll exile their guys. If they don't, I could... I mean, I'm playing the Skyfisher, I think. Yeah, because they're probably not going to be able to cast Counterspell or anything. I could pick up this Lembas. I could pick up a Bojuka Bog and just blow up their Lorien, since we've already drawn our land for this turn, but I think we still... or haven't played our land for this turn yet. I think we're still going to go for the Lembas. We have enough graveyard hate, and do need to find some other stuff. Cycle another Lorien for an island. They could 5 mana slam a Terror. Start with a Mental Note. Hit a Deep Analysis, yeah. So they could definitely get a Terror or a Gurmag if they want. Maybe they just cast, yep, the Deep Analysis while they can. Gonna go for the Thought Scour. If they hit 2 spells, they'll be able to cast... Yep, they did hit 2 spells. They could cast a Terror for 1 mana, or a Gurmag, of course. There is the Terror. We can cast it down, but we don't have enough mana because we have not been hitting our land drops to be able to also blow up their graveyard, so that could just lead to more coming. So I think we need to blow up their graveyard this turn, so let's Lembas, try to search for that land. Another Lembas we don't need. Deadly Dispute we don't need. Ugh, this is pretty annoying. I could Deadly Dispute, and if we find an untapped land, we can play that and then also hit a Thraben Charm. But if we don't, we're kind of in a terrible spot. If I just Thraben Charm, I can attack for 4, and we're like, okay. I think we gotta go for the Deadly Dispute. We found a tapped land. That's not quite what we wanted. I'm gonna attack with 1 Skyfisher, and I'm gonna play this bridge. And then if they go for like I might block this Terror, and then ephemerate my Skyfisher. Or I could just play out an Inspector. Yeah, maybe that's fine. Not what we wanted to see, though. They're going to attack with their Terror, and I'm just going to let them hit us, even if it gains lifelink here, which looks like it will. We can potentially chump and like Ephemerate or Deadly Dispute next turn instead of the turn that we thought about doing it. Looks like they have a Gurmag, so they're using up a lot of their graveyard now, so that's annoying. But I can Thraben Charm to kill something here. They have Counterspell mana up, though. And we don't draw a land, so we don't have Cast Down plus Thraben Charm. So if I cast down Terror, you can just keep it around. So I think we just try casting down Gurmag. And if they Counterspell, then I can Thraben Charm Gurmag, and then I can also still Ephemerate and chump. I think I could go for a Thraben Charm here first. I guess either way, if they have a Snuff Out, it's pretty annoying. I could Ephemerate then in response to the Snuff Out. So yeah, let's just go for the cast down on the Gurmag. They have the Counterspell. So let's Thraben Charm it. And if they have 2 Snuff Outs, they get us real good. If they have 1, it's a little annoying. Okay, so that's fine. And then, do I want to leave back a Skyfisher so they can't attack with the Snacker? But then this dies if they have a Counterspell, as opposed to this guy. I think we'll just swing. And then we're going to chump, ephemerate it. They're going to chump with their snacker. Okay. Means they probably have a Lorien or a Deep Analysis here. Yep. And we didn't hit our land, so we couldn't hold up Thraben Charm for that either. They have another land, so they can have a counterspell here. Let's try to ephemerate. Prevent them from gaining 6. Get a clue. They're going to Agony Warp in response. Okay. Still don't gain 6, though. I guess that's something. We need another creature for 1 mana, and then we can Thraben Charm this Terror. And also hope that they don't have... Oh, Extract a Confession. That's our best draw for sure. Well, glad we finally got something. Let's extract with additional cost. Make them lose that Terror. Attack for 4. And then I can ephemerate Skyfisher, pick up Bojuka Bog, and then Bojuka Bog them, and also Deadly Dispute here, or maybe just crack a clue. Or I could just Thraben Charm them, but kind of don't hate... I guess if we do this, we kind of waste the second ephemerate. I mean, I could pick up the Bojuka Bog again. Our graveyard, I mean, except for terrors, yeah, I think that's kind of fine. So let's go for ephemerate. That worked, so in response, we're going to tap this for this clue. Draw that, then we'll bounce the Bojuka Bog, we'll play it again, we'll blow up their grave. I mean, the Bojuka Bog with even Skyfishers and stuff is really good in this versus this deck. So even if they have a bunch of like terrors and Gurmags, they're really pricey here. Upkeep, this is gonna go off. Ephemerate. I could just pick up the Bojuka Bog again. Do I even need to? Yeah, I guess it's fine. Because if they like block with their snacker, then they're brainstorming right here. Okay. If they block with their snacker and then try to get and then I play a Bojuka Bog to try to get rid of it, and then they draw 3 in response, then I can Thraben Charm. So like, yeah, you know. So they brainstorm and then go for a counterspell. I'm actually very okay with that. It was not the end of the world to me if I have this Bojuka Bog, but of course they don't know we have 2 Thraben Charms in hand. This also just means we get to attack for 4 probably here, and a Glint Hawk. A little awkward without an artifact we really want to pick up with it. Let's just start with the Deadly Dispute. They have another counterspell, it's a little annoying, but we'll just sack that. Even if they have a removal spell, we have another Deadly Dispute for it. Tithing Blade. Okay. So we can Tithing here. Well, if they just want to chump, we don't even have to waste the Tithing. Although it's not really a waste because we do want to use the Glint Hawk to buy it back. But if they chump here, they've already brainstormed, so they can't draw their 3rd card this turn. So we can just Thraben Charm away the Sneaky Snacker. And if they don't, then we can just Tithing it after combat. They do go for the block. So let's Deadly Dispute here. I could just go for a Thraben Charm if they have a counterspell. I'll Thraben it again, but I think it's fine. I'll Deadly Dispute. If they don't counter this, then we draw a bunch of lands. And I'm just going to leave the Thraben Charm for later in response to them brainstorming or Lorien or whatever. You're going to Suffocating Fumes here. Okay. To kill this Skyfisher. That's a little annoying. Could have a Spell Pierce. I don't have another Deadly Dispute, but let's exile their grave after that. So I guess that would have been a reason that I didn't think about to go for the Tithing Blade line, but that's okay. All right, we got that. So they are at Mental Note in their upkeep, mill 2 lands. Lucky them. I guess they brainstormed, so not lucky. They knew that was there. Another brainstorm. They have a Snuff Out for our guy. Hard cast. Lembas would be a good draw. Kabira Crossroads. Well, we didn't need more land. I don't really want to throw out a Tithing Blade and then just flip it. That's a really long turn. I think maybe we can just Glint Hawk. I guess I can Tithing Blade and then Glint Hawk so that I don't have to set myself back a land. They know we have a Tithing Blade then, but like that's kind of fine. But I'd like to have the pressure of the Glint Hawk, and then I guess we'll gain 2 life here. And I can play the Tithing again, but I can probably just play it again next turn. And I can also hold up Thraben here. They're going to go for a Terror, and they concede. They know we have the Tithing Blade, and I guess they don't have a counterspell, so I guess we get there. 7 spells. 7 spells. 6 spells in a Karu land. Okay, this one's acceptable, I guess. Put back, pass down, Lembas and Grim Bauble? No, because then we can't even play this. I think we're just going with keep the Grim Bauble, hope it's relevant, and keep a Deadly Dispute to turn it into some more cards. I guess that's what we're doing. Colony Garden. Okay. Doesn't seem like Grim Bauble is going to be the most important against that. because that would probably mean Broodscale or Golgari Gardens or maybe Bogles, none of which Grim Bauble's very good against. That's a swamp. Looked like they wanted to duress us, which would mean Broodscale, but then instead they played, they left up Deadly Dispute mana, so we're not going to go for a Bauble here, but then we don't have Deadly Dispute coming. Yeah, I guess we kind of have to just play the Bauble so that we have a Deadly Dispute target, or cost, I guess. Even though they're going to Deadly Dispute their own plant, it doesn't really, not really why we're playing it. There's the Duress, probably going to take the Deadly Dispute. Maybe just the Thraben Charm if they have a quick combo. Took the Duress, play a Shambling Ghast. Now we have nothing. Lembas is a good draw. Guess we're looking for lands or Glint Hawks and Skyfishers. I will take a Deadly Dispute. That increases our chance of drawing a land next turn. Of course, if they have another Duress, they know we just kept one on top, so we can maybe just take the Dispute. Oh look, it's another Duress. Back for one. I mean, we get a Familiar. It's better than nothing, but as soon as they sack this Ghast, it's just going to die. But we're going to play it. Make them lose a card for now. I guess there's a... Maybe I should have kept it so that I could... In case they draw an Ephemerate, and then they go for it, and then I can Ephemerate it, but that seems like a bit far-fetched. In response, they're going to Deadly Dispute their creature. That's interesting. Response to it hitting the field, so I guess they want the treasure over the killing the Familiar, but fair enough. As soon as we have like some pressure and stuff, and maybe some more mana, we can hold up Cast Down to try to interrupt their combo if they don't have any Tamiyo safekeepings, but leaving up, not playing a Familiar and then leaving up mana for a Cast Down is like not really a winning strategy, even if it maybe makes it so we don't lose for one turn. They're really going ham on this, Deadly Disputing their lands before this Familiar hits the table. Discard a Twisted Landscape. Another Garden, Wellspring. Bojuka Bog is a land, so I'm not complaining. Doesn't seem crazy relevant here, but at least we're hitting our land drop, and honestly an untapped land wouldn't matter either, so it's not a bad one to draw. If they are playing Evolution Witness, then it could be relevant. Unfortunately, they don't have any like Eviscerator's Insights in there that we're really getting value off of right now. Now we can start leaving up Cast Down for if they have the combo but no protection. We get a Deadly Dispute. It's not bad. Let's start with an attack for 2. And I could go for a Deadly Dispute now, or I could just leave up Grim Bauble and sack it on the end step. I think that's fine. That kind of acts as a Deadly Dispute, plus it's 3 mana. They have their own Dispute for their Wellspring. Another Wellspring. They have a Chrysalis and an Energy Refractor. Let's crack the Bauble. 2 lands. I mean, I don't hate more lands, but I don't really think we need to keep those specifically. Probably draw more anyway. That's a Glint Hawk. I can play Glint Hawk, but if I buy back like either of these and replay them, then I don't have my stuff up. So kind of need to just find more lands. If only someone hadn't binned them all. No, it's just like, do I play Glint Hawk now? It doesn't really do anything even if I pick up the Lembas. So I'd probably just Deadly Dispute Lembas instead, try to hit our land drop. And then this can maybe pick up a Familiar later when we have the mana for it. So I think that's maybe fine. Well, didn't find a land, which is fine. I know I just binned 2. I could cast this down, but that feels foolish because they could just combo. Probably not going to be able to stop them anyway, but might as well try. Here's a Broodscale. Now it's adapting. Here's another Broodscale. Okay. And it's adapting. So they don't have the combo, I don't think. Or maybe they have 2 Sadisticallys and are going to cast 1, and if I cast it down, they'll just cast the other. But this is just kind of a weird way to do that. But you got it. Broodscale adapts. They attack for 4 here after just making 2 Broodscales. Okay. I mean, I guess I cast down a Broodscale on the end step so that we use up our mana here. Maybe they have the protection, but they clearly don't have the Glee. Yep, there's the safekeeping. There's a Bauble. Can't hit a Broodscale, so yeah, maybe this card just sucks. I guess I could double hit the Broodscale as talked about. Grim Bauble, Glint Hawk it back, and then Bauble, but if they then find a Glee, we're just out of luck. If they just go beat down, we're going to have trouble. So what do we do? I guess if I play Thraben Inspector and leave up our mana, we can like trade for a Broodscale with both our guys. It's not really great, but then if next turn we go Bauble, Glint Hawk Bauble, We can kill the other one. Maybe this is the best way that we do that. And then we can cast down the Chrysalis like 2 turns later. It's not great, but I think that's our game plan. Another Brood Scale. And a Sadistic Glee on the one they haven't adapted. They must have just top decked this Sadistic Glee. I mean, I'm gonna try to cast it down, I guess. I don't think they're gonna have 2 removal spells, actually, so I'm just gonna Thraben Charm it. But if you got the safekeeping, I guess you're good. Gonna adapt it in response. Yeah, I guess they only need 1 removal spell. I'm still gonna assume that they don't have it, but that's fair. I just wanted to keep the cast down for like the Chrysalis, because we're probably not gonna have 3 creatures to do that with by the time we get around to it. But they activated this Brood Scale twice with adapting it. I don't know if they thought that it would go off twice, but it will not. They make their spawn. Even 2 counters wouldn't have saved it, but it would make 2 spawn if it was able to make 2 counters. Adapt twice, that is. It can adapt twice, it's just, it's already... The adapt means it won't get a counter if it already is a counter. And they adapt it a 3rd time. Yes, I do not think they understand how it works. They do just have a bunch of guys, though. They're going to swing with the team, so we're going to go for our play of trading for 1 here. Grim, Glint, Grim, the other one. And then the following turn casting down the Chrysalis, hoping we're not dead to it already. There's another Grim Bauble. Okay. Well, I could just play 2. That doesn't do much different than just getting the Glint Hawk down, so I will play this. Drink this guy. Glint Hawk it back. Lay it once more. Pick off the Brood Scale. I mean, that wasn't like the most efficient use of it, but to be honest, still a lot better than a Tithing Blade. A Tithing Blade would have cost 2 mana there, and then pick it back up with a Glint Hawk, and all it would have done is kill a plant. So I'm not too displeased with that in comparison to what it was before. If they have like another Chrysalis or something, we are going to have to chump this one, which is a little unfortunate. Ideally, they have nothing, and we can just cast it down next turn. They have a Nightblade. Well, that's going to be scary enough. I think we have to chump anyway. Because if they just have like 2 tokens leave after they hit us, we'll die. Which is not too hard to make happen. Unfortunately, this is a 1/3, so we can't Grim Bauble it down either. We're going to chump. This does shut off Ephemerates from being good draws, unfortunately, but what are you going to do? That's a Skyfisher. I could Skyfisher back the Bauble, but that doesn't do what we need yet. I might need to... I'm going to cast this down in their upkeep, I guess. And then take 1 here, probably. Next turn I can Skyfisher. If I haven't drawn a land, I'll pick up the Bauble, and then the following turn I can double Bauble the Nightblade, so... Again, not great. I would love to crack a clue here to hit an untapped land, but I'm not confident that would work, so let's not do that. So cast down now, so that if they have a top mana safekeeping, whatever, they're going to get us either way. If they are going to top deck 1, though, or Deadly Dispute and stuff, like, we get around that. Well, they do just find another Chrysalis, which is pretty annoying. They don't even bother attacking. We do get the Vault, so we can kill this Nightblade. Still have a 4/3 coming in, but maybe we can get another cast down. Yeah, I mean, we might as well. Let's play the Skyfisher. This can also chump if we really need. Pick up the Bauble. Again, not super efficient, but better than a Tithing Blade. Shrink the Nightblade. Shrink it again. They are going to sack a spawn in response to get their ping. They probably will do it again. So we're down to 5. Off the Nightblade. So if they don't play anything here, I think we don't chump. Because I want to keep this Skyfisher around. Yeah, I just don't think chumping is really going to like win us the game, unless of course it is going to actively lose us the game by not chumping. They have a landscape that they're going to cycle for 4 mana. They're tapping as if they want to play another Chrysalis, but they don't have enough mana. They have 4 untapped mana, but they have to turn 2 of it into a Refractor, so it looks like they have another Chrysalis in hand. So yeah, that's fun. Play another Refractor. They're going to swing, we're going to take it. We get a Skyfisher. That doesn't do much, because picking up a Bauble is kind of irrelevant. So let's start with a clue. Maybe we get a cast down. We get a Tithing Blade. Hey, look how good Tithing Blade is here. Not very. I I guess playing Skyfisher doesn't really do much either, though, because we can double block, but we can't kill this. They don't have a graveyard that's relevant, so I guess we are just playing Tithing Blade, and then next turn we can pick it up and put it back down and get more plant tokens gone. They cycle a landscape. They Glee up their plant token. Okay. They don't currently have a way to kill a creature, but I guess I have to chump here, and then this will be another lethal attacker, so they'll have 2. That's kind of cool, I guess. We get a familiar, so we can take their last card, Skyfisher back the familiar, or actually we could Skyfisher back the bauble, and then kill off this plant token now that they made it relevant. That's kind of funny. Well, let's take the card first. It's a Chrysalis that they chose not to play, I guess. Interesting. Yeah, Skyfisher back a bauble so that we don't have to lose a creature to this plant token. I could just get back the familiar, play it, and I draw a new card. This can't attack in anyway, but I have to chump something here, and then this is going to grow. So yeah, I think the bauble's better. And then we only have to chump the Chrysalis with one of our creatures, so we're making a little bit of progress. If we can still draw into a cast down or something, we might have a shot. We've already used 2 of our 3 cast downs and 3 of our 4 deadly disputes, so I guess we could like Lembas into it. We don't have a lot of great draws, unfortunately. They have a Rumble, that's a pretty good one. They can go for their combo, or they should probably just take this Chrysalis and have another big attacker. Still confused why they would go for making a plant a 1/2 over playing another 4/5. I don't really understand that. They do take the Chrysalis, and they play it. I guess we jump with the Skyfisher in case we get another Skyfisher or Glint Hawk. We'd prefer to have the familiar to pick it up and draw a card. That's kind of our best case scenario, is like top deck Glint Hawk into Skyfisher, not Skyfisher, into like something. Yeah, Ephemerate, I was another thought. It's not bad. Problem is I can't leave it to chump an Ephemerate because then we'll die unless I count on drawing a cast down right then. But if I Ephemerate now, I have a shot of drawing into like a lot of other cards, Novice Inspectors and things like that. So I think we just go for it. It's low chance of winning here anyway, but might as well try. There's an Inspector. That keeps us alive. That's 2 chump blockers. Plus we have a clue to sack. Maybe we can get like a land drop, and then that opens us up to like bobbling next turn and playing something. It's a Tithing Blade. I mean, if they sack all their spawn, that could be decent. If they sack all their spawn, which I guess they don't need to at all, so they probably shouldn't. But if they sack all their spawn, even when we're chumping them, then in that world, Tithing Blade kills one of them, and then we draw another Glint Hawk or something. So chump with both. This also means our Ephemerate gets wasted, but if we had gone for the block Ephemerate on the familiar, we would have drawn... well, we wouldn't have even drawn, actually, because they would be holding a card in hand, so that wouldn't have worked. So let's not cast that. We got our cast down, but it's unfortunately too late unless they want to choose to sack one of these Chrysalises to the Tithing Blade. Should be pretty cool. If they choose that, then I can cast down the other one. They didn't. Interesting. They have a Munitions. Darn, we were so close to winning. Then they're going to attack. Let me cast down the big boy. And we're going to take 3. Okay, I guess the good news, if there is any, is that was game 1. And they are down to 7 minutes after that. So, standard bears come in. Extract comes in. Thraben Charms come in. Suffocating doesn't do much. Unfortunately, the baubles don't do too much. Nor do Tithing Blades. Great. I just want to show you, the reason I thought this would be decent is burn is 15% of the meta, according to MTG Goldfish right now. Mono Blue Fae is 9%. That right there is 24% that I think is pretty decent against. Madness Burn would be not bad against either, because you can pick off Kitchen Imps, and that's 3%. So like there's a good amount of the meta that this bauble is supposed to be decent against. We are just not finding it. I guess since they're playing Energy Refractor, maybe Dust to Dusts are okay. Like maybe we want 1. They also had a Tree of Tails. Yeah, maybe we can bring in 1 of these. I don't want to bring in a bunch and then get wrecked, but like having a 1 of isn't terrible. I guess over this Tithing Blade that I really don't think is going to be any good. Okay, we have a lot of lands, Glint Hawks, nothing really to pick up except for this Crossroads. I think this hand is unkeepable, unfortunately. This one's bad too. No white mana. And nothing really to pick up with Glint Hawks. I realize I'm taking out artifacts for Glint Hawks before people start telling me that. I understand, but we still have 4 familiars, 2 baubles, 2 lembas. That's still 8, which is pretty standard. I guess we're going down more. This hand is, I guess, fine if we draw a land, but we're on the play. I think a 4-card hand is probably better than this one, if I'm honest. Not with Basilicas. All I needed was a hand that would like be able to hold them off for 6 minutes, but I don't know that we're going to get there. We're going to have to go down to 3 because this is literally unplayable. Yeah. Okay, the best 3-card hand you ever did see. I guess we start with these and, yeah, Familiar and 2 lands. That's really all I got. I mean, they also mulligan to 5, but that's that's a million in comparison to what we were at. So, yeah, this will be interesting. Glint Hawk's a pretty good draw, I'm not going to lie. Start with our Familiar. Discard a Refractor. Have a Colony Garden. No black mana yet. Cast down's not bad. Really would have liked an Artifacts land there first, so we could play this Glint Hawk and replay the Familiar. But we're going to start with the Glint Hawk. And yeah, we're just going to pick up the Familiar. And we can't play it because it costs 2, so yeah, we got to pass. They have a Wellspring. And they found their swamp. They have a Duress, so they even get our cast down, which is pretty annoying. They're at 3 cards in hand. Another Familiar. I guess that wouldn't be great. I can't play them both in this turn. It'd be okay. Well, I'm not... I mean, if we just lose this next turn, I guess it's really hard for that to happen. They would have to have the natural and like a Snuff Out in 3 cards. But let's play a Familiar. Tax their hand. Next turn, play another Familiar. Maybe get an Ephemerate. We can go double Familiar. I will say this is already shaping up to be, I mean, an insanely good 3-card hand. Like, we've drawn 3 very good cards so far. They discarded a Broodscale, play a Rumble, find a Glee, I'm assuming is what they take. They do. So their hand is Glee and 1 other. It's a Nadir's Nightblade, and they play it out, so we can actually take the Glee from them. That's pretty good. A Bauble, too. A Bauble doesn't kill Nightblade, but that's okay. We get to hit for 4 and take the last card from their hand, and then we just have a 3-turn clock. I'm just going to leave Bauble in hand for if they, like, play a Broodscale, but, like, they Malevolent Rumble or into a Broodscale or something, so they don't have Adapt for it. Take their Glee, and we'll pass. I mean, this draw was kind of irrelevant, but otherwise our hand has been kind of crazy. They're attacking for 1. We're going to happily not block. They pass to us. We get a Bajuka Bog. I mean, that's a land. Oh, we also have a 2-turn clock here. So they have to find something, even just like a way to sack this plant. That's also why I didn't want to Grim Bauble the plant, was so that they wouldn't be able to get an extra life. Might as well play our land, exile their graveyard in case they have any way to get it back. And they got to draw something pretty good. Deadly Dispute's a start. Oh, I guess sacking a treasure will ping us. So yeah, that's going to do it right there. That's just going to keep us alive, keep them alive. And they draw 3 there, so that's pretty unfortunate. They found Chrysalis, which is pretty annoying because that's more spawn, which is more tokens, plus a Reacher, so that was probably their best draw. And we're able to cast it off their treasure, which also pinged us for 1. Into a Wellspring. Ping for 1. I mean, another Grim Bauble would at least pick off this Nightblade. That'd be something. Ephemerate's okay. We can take another one of their cards. Okay. We could also Grim Bauble down the Nightblade. I could swing with the team. They'd probably block a Glint Hawk. Then I could flicker it. But then if I flicker it and pick up a Familiar, I only get in for 2. That's better than nothing. Or I could play the Grim Bauble first, and then I could pick it back up, hit the Nightblade. If they find the combo, Nightblade is going to instantly kill us. Not instantly. I mean, they're going to have to go through it, and they only have 2 minutes on clock. But whereas Chrysalis, we can chump. Yeah, we probably should leave back a chump blocker. I guess Ephemerates makes a chump blocker. Yeah, kind of a tough call. I think there's no reason to not play the Grim Bauble, so let's do that. And then hit the Nightblade. I can't hit the Chrysalis and make it matter. I mean, I could hit it, then attack. If they block a Familiar, I could let those deal damage, and then I could Ephemerate the Glint Hawk, and then hit the Bauble, but that's like way too much. So I don't think that's going to happen. So let's attack with the team. And if they block the Glint Hawk here, we Ephemerate it, pick up the Bauble, play the Bauble, hit the Nightblade. If they block a Familiar, I still hit for 4.
So question is, do I want the Nightblade dead? Because if so, I don't really care if this familiar dies. I could flicker the GlintBlade, GlintHawk, I mean, and kill this, which is going to be their fastest way to win. But then we're not going to be able to kill them if we don't have all these birds around. If we make them discard to one card, they're going to need to have a combo on top. I think it's fine if we just go for the familiar here. I don't know, we'll find out. This takes a card from their hand, so they're going to have Brood Scale and Sadistic on top, or they're going to have to keep a Deadly Dispute and then go for it. I think it seems okay. They discard another Nightblade. Okay, well that's not great, but that's okay. Hit for 4. Still doesn't mean we have quite lethal next turn because they have a spawn here to sack, but maybe if we get a cast down, it will. Although we're probably going to ephemerate a familiar on our turn, make them discard another card. They play a landscape. Interesting. Find a swamp. Interesting they wouldn't keep that to discard to the familiar. But maybe they just have another land in hand and they know they need as much mana as possible. I'm going to try to take their last card. Ephemerate a familiar. Could also just be another land, so it doesn't really matter. It was a Chrysalis. Yeah, it looks like they're not playing any red sources in their main deck, which I think is questionable. Seeing as they're running the Chrysalises and a Makeshift. Okay, I could attack, but I only hit for 2, so that doesn't really matter. I might as well just play this Inspector, crack the clue right away in case I get a land, since we play a lot of tap lands. Deadly Dispute's not bad. So I'll pass. And they got 30 seconds left and 1 card draw to see if they can do anything. Hey, they found their red source. They didn't want it from their landscape, so that's interesting. So I guess I was wrong. They really stuck it to me. Let's Deadly Dispute this Bauble. Get a Skyfisher. Doesn't really matter. Let's just play a Goldmire Bridge and pass to them. All right, we won the match. All right, round 4 here. This hand looks okay. Yeah, it's fine. We get to play Bridge, turn 1, Vault 2, and a Familiar. Then 3, we can GlintHawk and play the Familiar again. Inspector's not bad either. They're on something blue. Rainstorm. So I'm going to call Mono Blue Terror is my guess. We will find out. Inspector does mean I can play Inspector and Familiar on turn 2, assuming nothing gets countered, so that's good. Or decent anyway. Is this an upkeep Thought Scour or Mental Note? Yes, it is. Put away 2 Snuffouts. Ah, not Mono Blue. 2 Snuffouts, huh? Tithing Blade. That's going to be good. So let's vault, play our Novice Inspector. They only have 1 mana up, so they shouldn't be able to counter either of our creatures unless they're playing Force Spike, which seems very unlikely. Familiar does, they're going to Mental Note in response. 2 lands. Familiar does let them play, rather discard a spell, and that actually puts them to 6 spells. They discard an island, though. But that means that they can get Terrors down already, which is pretty scary, but I do have a Tithing Blade, so if they just tap out for 1, that'd be pretty cool. They do, alright. So I'm just going to Tithing Blade and then buy it right back, because we're clearly against a deck where Tithing Blade's good. Finally. Not finally. We're trying to find a deck that Grim Bauble is good against, and have not gone up against it yet. But I guess that's okay. Hit for 3. We have a good start here. They could just lay out a couple more Terrors, or 1 Terror and hold up a counterspell for the Tithing. Oh, they just concede. Okay, well, that was a pretty good start, I guess. We get the Thraben Charms, the Extract, take out the Suffocating. I'm assuming we're basically against the same deck as before. So probably Sneaky, Snackers, Gurmags, and Terrors. So unfortunately, we're going to take out a couple of the Grim Baubles. But I think that looks fine. Maybe a Suffocating is better than one of the Baubles. Because Bauble, like, you can't even double Bauble against a Gurmag, you know? So it's, like, really not very good. But if it picks off a Snacker, or even just makes it so we can play GlintHawk earlier, it's, like, okay. It does still have the Surveil. This hand looks pretty good again. A little more mana than I'd like. I would say 1 land more, but that's okay. We still have the classic turn 1, turn 2 if we want. Cast down. I could even just play an Inspector turn 1, and I think that makes more sense to get in 1 extra damage. I mean, might as well. Cycle Alorian, they do. Yoda, I am. Get an Aquifer. They do play it here, okay. They probably have a Nulls, but Chukabog's not bad. Not that I want the land, but at least it's basically a spell land.
I want the familiar down, but it's mana inefficient because I have to play a vault and then use 1 mana on it. And if they have an annul, it's pretty annoying. So I could just crack a clue, but then they're just going to hold up more mana, I think. So I feel like on the off chance they don't have the annul, I'm going to go for it here. Try to get it under the radar. Because this one also doesn't die to snuff out. They have a mental note, but that's not an annul. Okay. Or a steel sabotage. So they mill that and a Lorien. 4 spells engrave. So we're probably playing Bojuka Bog next turn. They discard an Agony Warp. Okay. They could play a Terror here for 2 mana and then hold up an annul, which would mean that they couldn't Tithing Blade them, which would be annoying. I would still get to Bojuka Bog them. Yeah, it looks like they might be doing that. Still get to Bojuka Bog after. Extract. I think I extract, because if they have a Spell Pierce, they're going to get it either way. But if they have just an annul or steel sabotage, then this isn't gonna, they're not gonna be able to counter this. Yeah. Now I get to attack for 3, and I think 5 spells engrave is definitely worthy of a Bojuka Bog, I would say. They're only at 3 cards in hand, so we might have a shot here. They're gonna brainstorm. There's a snacker. Annoying. Another inspector. I don't have another graveyard hate piece, so if I attack and they trade for a familiar, I lose my guy, and they probably can just get this back. I think I'd rather Tithing Blade it. I still have a cast down for if they play something bigger. If they do have the annul, it's fine. I'm not going to waste a cast down on this guy. So let's try this. Worst case, well, assuming this resolves, worst case is they get it right back, but we still get to crack in for 3 damage, so it's not nothing. I'm going to develop out my Inspector. I guess this kind of plays into an Arms of Hadar, but I think that's okay. We have decent recovery from that with 2 clues, and I'd like to pressure them if they don't have the board wipe. And if they do, they would also need a land and a Brainstorm to get this back, so like if they spend their whole turn doing that, it's not the end of the world, although it's not my favorite either. Murmuring Mystic, okay. They could have a Snuff out, so I don't want to just wildly attack in. I think we're going to cast down and see if they want to make a bird in response by killing an Inspector, which is fine by me. They don't. Nice. So we get to attack. Core Skyfisher back to the familiar, and they're going to concede. Yeah, we just had a ton of removal there. These are the decks we're supposed to be playing against. Like, in general, obviously, a Tithing Blade deck is really good against a Terror deck, but also the cast downs and all the other removal is really good. Not the greatest deck to play against for Grim Bauble, but still really good for our deck to play against. Oh, another hand that dies to 2 Basilica. 3 might be too many in the deck, to be honest. I've been thinking about messing around with this mana base a little bit more, because I have clearly not been happy with it. Okay, let me see what I just said. I mean, I don't think it's an issue of quantity, so I don't really want to say that this is because of that. We did win that 3-card game, so that means we definitely can keep going down. I mean, we're keeping this one. It's a 1-lander, which is obviously terrible, but at least we have playables. So I guess I'm just getting rid of all of our interaction and just keeping the cards we can play and like another card that's decent. I mean, now we're finally against mono red. Kabir Crossroads is the land to have if we're against mono red, especially with the Skyfisher, but I'm not sure this hand's going to get there. If we get a decent hand game 2 and maybe 3, with Grim Baubles, maybe we can actually show those being decent. For now, I would just love a Plains. Cast down, not quite what I asked for. They're going to discard a card with their blood on the end step. They just have a Bushwhacker. I will certainly trade if they let me. Okay, so we're down to 15. There's a Bauble. Hey, look at that. Play another Inspector and pass. They don't swing. Interesting. Usually I would be willing to spend a bolt to get in for 2 damage to kill a creature. Luckily for them, I don't think we're winning this one simply off of our mana. So we're going to pass back to them. Crack their Lackey. I guess they're just going for the burn win here. Or maybe they just find a Kuldotha, go for a Bushwhacker, and that'll be that. There's a Galvanic. Yeah, it looks like it might just be burn. There's a Kuldotha. Okay, a mix of both. We have a Suffocating Fumes in the main deck. If we draw that and 2 lands here. Let's just go to the next game. This is clearly not going to work out. Okay, we get all our Navigator's Compasses, Suffocating Arms of Hadar. We get to take out Thraben, Cast Downs, Tithing Blades. And yeah, I mean, this could be pretty decent, I think. Let's try. Try to get a reasonable hand with 7 cards in it. On the play. Both. I mean, it's 1 land again, which is annoying me. It is 2 Navigator's Compasses followed by a Familiar. If they just have like a Gorilla Shaman, we lose. But if not, it's a pretty reasonable hand for 1 land. And I'm just so jaded by the mulligans we've had before that I'm not confident we'll get a better 6. So I guess we're going to try it and gain 3 here. If we draw an untapped land, we can play another Compass and a Familiar. That'd be pretty good. Even a Goldmire Bridge would let us play the Familiar. No 1-drop. We get a Glint Hawk. Well, oh, Navigator's Compass can actually turn lands into... I almost forgot about this. Target land you control becomes the basic land type of your choice. So I could make this white, play the Glint Hawk, and then I could either pick up the Compass, or I could pick up the Vault and play it again, and then play another Compass. So Glint Hawk actually wasn't a bad draw. Get a Plains, tap for white, play Glint Hawk. If we pick up the Vault, if we could play the Familiar, this would be really good. But I think since we can't, we might as well just play the Compass. I guess by playing the Vault, but picking up the Vault and then playing the Compass, we can still get the Familiar next turn. But this way we gain more life. I think having this out is a little more important. So let's just do this. They do have a Bolt for the Glint Hawk. That's fine. They do have the Cast into the Fire for the Vault. We then draw a Plains, which we can turn into a black land, but now we only have 2 artifacts. So that means I can Omen of the Dead our Glint Hawk back to hand. So I'm going to probably do that. The mana fixing on these is actually helping quite a bit. I think we'd be toast without it. They do have a Gorilla Shaman, though, so they can start picking these off if they get more mana. Tomb Raider with no artifact. Okay. Turn into a swamp, cast the Omen, pick up the Glint Hawk. I still want another land. Thraben Inspector we can play, but then they can just blow up the Clue for 1 mana. I might as well just play a Glint Hawk, pick up a Compass. This can also block anything. I'm not saying we're in a good spot, but it might be okay. I can bolt our Glint Hawk. Yep. Kick a Bushwhacker. Okay, yeah. Attacking for 6. We're down to 20. There's a Bauble. That's actually not bad. We can pick off the Gorilla Shaman, so it will stop killing our stuff. Or, I mean, it hasn't killed our stuff so far, but so that it won't kill our stuff. And then next turn we can play an Inspector. And then we can finally get the Familiar down, maybe? They have a Cast into the Fire. Okay. That's fine. We have another Compass. We're at 18. Only 2 cards left for them. And a Basilica. All right, we're getting there. So yeah, let's play our Inspector. What a really weird game. The Compasses are the MVP, though. Not only fixing our mana, although that's been clutch, but also gaining us, 9 life? To survive this. Synthesizer could be pretty good for them, since they were out of artifacts for a while. Great Furnace, yeah, so if they go Kuldotha now, that's going to be pretty unfortunate. They have a Chain Lightning, so I can't even block. Attack for 3. We do finally have mana, so I can play Compass and Familiar, take their last card. And then we have a Crossroads, that's not bad. So let's do that. Play Compass, gain 3, play a Familiar, take their card. It was a Mountain, then it could be our Crossroads. And the next turn we can start Deadly Disputing. Okay. I'm certainly trading this if I can. They're going to swing. I will go for the trade. We're at 19. They're going to Cast into the Fire for the 3rd time. Get rid of the other Compass. Okay. Can't pick it up then. Inspector's not bad. Let's just start with a Deadly Dispute on this Bauble. I think that's fine. I guess we don't have anything to pick up then with the Glint Hawk if we get one, but... Oh well, we'll draw another Bauble. So let's play an Inspector. I can play Bauble now, but they're probably going to make a Samurai at some point. And also I can leave up Deadly Dispute this way if they have a Bolt, so maybe I'll just save the Bauble to kill the Samurai. Speaking of, they're going to crack that Synth. Find a Kuldotha Rebirth, okay.
Would love to find a Suffocating Fumes then. So I think we're going to spend some mana cracking a Clue here, or I might just go for the Deadly Dispute to dig a little bit deeper. Glint Hawk, okay. I mean, we can also just pick off a couple guys with this Bauble. Again, this is the match where it's supposed to be decent, so we can do that. Play Glint Hawk, pick it back up. Play it again. Pick off a Bushwhacker. That's looking a little better. Yeah, I'll pass. We're going to Chain Lightning the Glint Hawk. Let me crack a Clue just in case I find an Ephemerate. Nope, that's fine. They're passing to us. Another Compass. Love to see it. Lembas. I will point out they've found 4 of their Artifact Hate cards that they sided in. Usually they only have like 5, maybe 6, so it's a lot. We did find a Lembas, and we have a Compass, so we do have a lot of life gain here, though. Let's just play that, play a Goldmire, and pass. I guess we're cracking a Lembas on the end step, and maybe cracking a Bauble on the upkeep. Yeah, to surveil a little bit. Oop. Try to find something. Yeah, get rid of these lands. We do not need them. I mean, one of them picks up a Kabir Crossroads, but that's okay. Glint Hawk's much better. Picks up a Compass. Gain some more life. Up to 28. And I'll pass. Might sack this Omen 2. I would love to keep it if we find a Skyfisher, but I guess we don't need to. We're kind of in a fine spot. I guess we can draw naturally once. Spectre's a pretty good draw. It's another blocker. It draws us another card. Let's go for that. We get a Vault. Okay. I guess we'll start cracking in for 2 in the air. They're going to bolt. Fair enough. They have a Tomb Raider. I could double block, but if they go for the attack, I'm going to assume they have a bolt. Yeah, so I don't think I want to do that. I think it's fine. We can take another... we drew nothing. So that's not great. Probably go for the sack next turn then, since we don't really want to take 2 turns off from doing anything at all. They have an Epicure. And they are amassing guys, so we would love to find an Arms of Hadar or a Suffocating Fumes here. They're going to bin a Mountain to this blood. And they found the Bushwhacker off the top. Well, that's lucky of them. Alright, we're going to sack this Omen here to see what's coming up for us. Novice Inspector. Well, I will get rid of the Ancient Den. I'll keep the Inspector. I think we're double blocking this Tomb Raider. We can take a big hit of 10. We trade 1 for 1 here, though, and then we have 2 1/2s to block up their wall of 1/1s. So play an Inspector, crack the Clue right away. Familiar draws us a card, so that's a great draw. Bajuka Bog, why not? I mean, not terrible. Could keep passing. There's no reason to get in for 1 when they could like top deck a Bushwhacker or something and attack for a bunch. They're going to pass. Deadly Dispute, there we go. Let's sack this treasure. There's a Fumes. So, do I just go for it? I don't think so. Like, if I just do it now and attack for 4, and then they top deck, like, another Kuldotha and a Bushwhacker or something, like, it's not great. So I think I'll do this. If they go for an attack, we can Suffocating Fumes, but this also means, like, maybe they play another Bushwhacker into it. Otherwise, they just attack for, get in for 3, but lose 2 guys, and that's pretty bad for them. Ephemerate's not bad. Probably going to hold that for if they bolt a guy. And so I'll pass here. I don't really want to Ephemerate the Familiar and then just have them bolt it in response, you know? They drop a land. We draw a land. Remember when we only had 1 land for like 4 turns? That was crazy. 4 turns? I think it might have been more like 6 turns, to be honest. There's Basilica. Well, we get to pick up the Crossroads with that. Gain a little bit more life. They are also just drawing a lot of lands, which is good for us. I mean, we've already hit them for 8 here. Another Ephemerate. Okay. Putting them down to 10 now. Oh, they're going to go for a bolt. We're going to Ephemerate it. They got another bolt. We can Ephemerate it again. Nice. They do not, so we get to take their last card. Might just be another land. It is. Play a Crossroads, and we'll pass. Pretty good for us. And if they get a bolt here that they're going to try to cast on us in response to our first Ephemerate, it's going to come off rebound. We can Ephemerate with the other one. Oh, they're going to attack here. Okay. My guess is that they have a End the Festivities. That's really the only reason I can think that they would do this. Which means I probably, if they're just going to go to damage here, I'm going to Suffocating Fumes. Unless they have like a pump, +1/+0 or +2/+0 in the deck. Oh, Cast into the Fire, sure.
They should definitely have waited until they dealt damage, because I'm going to Suffocating Fumes their guys now. I think is going to seal the game for us. There it is. All right. I guess let's do that again, but like maybe without the horrendous start to the game. These Basilicas are killing me, dude. All right, this hand is acceptable. Pretty bad when we get Gorilla Shaman or Cast into the Fire, but we start with the plains. Turn 2, we get down to Lembas, and then hope that we make it to a Skyfisher after that. I guess that's 2 artifacts there, so I think I'm going to get rid of a familiar, because if we do get stranded, the familiars are going to be so bad that I would rather have a Deadly Dispute if that happens. Navigator's Compass. Well, we're going to start with that. I'm still not going to play the Vault here, even though drawing another artifact would allow me to play the familiar on turn 2, because I still am too worried about it just dying right away. But Compass is good. They do destroy this. This keeps us in black. There's a second Epicure here for them. They're also on a Mulda 3. Not 3, 6. I'm still traumatized by that Mulda 3. They do have a Gorilla Shaman, and we don't have any removal. So that's pretty annoying. I think then we're going to play an Ancient Den, so that if they blow up our white source, and then we're going to core Skyfisher as a decent blocker and pick up the Compass as life. If they have a Bolt for it, that's fine. And they can kill the Ancient Den. That's a pretty good turn for them, actually. Maybe I get down the Lembas because it's another artifact. But then if they play a mountain, they can pay 3, get rid of the Compass. But if they spend their whole turn doing that, they don't even get our land. So I think that's fine, actually. Do this over the other one. Ancient Den, I'm going to get rid of you. More lands isn't bad, but more artifact lands that are destructible seems pretty bad. They do have the 3rd mountain, but they're going to go for the Ancient Den, understandably. Attack for 3. No, just 2. They want the Gorilla Shaman left back. It's very precious. Basilica, okay. I can't play anything for 1, though, even if I turn this into black. So I don't really want to play a Vault of Whispers that they can just blow up. But I don't play anything then. They're not pressuring me too hard, so it's probably fine. I do need to deploy mana, though. Lands, that is. Yeah, we're just going to play this and pick up the plains. Sets us back a little bit, but they didn't have a crazy turn here. They might find it with sacking a blood token or 2, but they don't. They just keep them. That's maybe even scarier. They do go 3 mana to blow up the Compass. I can respect that, I guess. Now they're attacking for 3. Gorilla Shaman, getting in there. Goldmire Bridge, okay. That's not terrible. So we get to play our core Skyfisher, and then the bridge. Pick up the Lembas. They're almost going to be able to blow up the Lembas. So we're going to want to play that on a turn we can also crack it. But getting an indestructible artifact is down is good, because next turn we can play Lembas. If we want, we can play Vault of Whispers and then play the Familiar. We will see. They have a Great Furnace and a Galvanic Blast. Not great. Down to 1 card in hand, though. It's a mountain. Discard it to a blood. Now they have a Clockwork Percussionist. Okay. Well, another Goldmire Bridge. So I can play that and then play a Familiar for 2, and I draw a card. Or I can play that, then I play a Lembas, and I play the Familiar, but then they can blow up the Lembas on their turn if they want to spend their whole turn doing that. So I don't gain 3. I could also just play a Plains, play the Lembas, and then gain 3 off of it. I really need a Suffocating Fumes. I think this is better. Let's just start with the Lembas. Core Skyfisher. I mean, that's pretty good. Next turn we can play like Familiar, Skyfisher, Familiar. Or I can just play it right now, and it actually blocks the team, plus I can get the Lembas back so I can use it again. Okay, let's do that. So if they draw a Bolt in their 2 draws, they can get through this. Otherwise they have to throw guys away too. Should be nice. Well, they're attacking. So maybe they have a Galvanic Blast. No, they have 3 artifacts. So I don't know. Maybe they're just willing to get in for 2. I think that's fair. Yep. Pass to me. Suffocating Fumes. There it is. So I can Suffocating first and then play a Lembas. But then I can't crack the Lembas. I also draw them a card here, so they could triple bolt me potentially. But could Suffocating and then Refurbished Familiar. Yeah, that seems okay. Or I could just wait
That's tough, I guess. Yeah, I guess maybe I do wait. Sure. I've convinced myself. Let's just play this, pass. If they swing with just these guys, I'll probably go for a suffocating. If they, of course, Kuldotha or Bushwhacker here, I can get them. Only getting in for 1 damage here, but with 2 Galvanics, that would kind of be enough. Let's block here. They're going to go to damage. I'm going to Suffocating Fumes and hope that they don't draw a bolt with this and be able to triple bolt me. They do get a lightning bolt off of it, so I guess we're going to find out. They're passing. Okay. Navigator's Compass off the top. That's pretty good. I mean, let's play a Lembas. Try to gain some life, or at least have the potential to gain some life. I assume if they had the ability to kill me at all, they would have already done it on their turn, but maybe I am mistaken. They wanted to give me an opportunity to look like a fool here. All right, Lembas resolves. Grim Bauble. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't think we need you here. Ephemerate's not bad. That helps pick up the Compass. Let's play the Compass, by the way. Gain 3 life. Nice. Play the Familiar. Now we have Lembas. We have Ephemerate for the Skyfisher to pick up the Compass. I think we're getting there. In response, they're going to try to cast into the fire one of these. Probably the Compass. No, they're going for the Lembas. Okay. I'm going to crack the Lembas. This does tap me out of Ephemerate, but that's what I got to do. Got to keep this 3 life. And if they have a bolt for this, I mean, I know they have a bolt. They Fire Blast us in response. Okay. Just to send a message, I suppose. I mean, also to not discard a card. So I guess that's fair. Yeah, I guess I'll attack. They have a bolt here they can use on whatever. Probably on us. Nope, they're going to go for the Skyfisher. Fair enough. That means we don't have the Ephemerate on it for the Compass. Blood Token away a mountain. Pass to us. Arms of Hadar. That's not bad. I think we're going to start with a Deadly Dispute on this vault. I don't want to get rid of this Compass because I'd love to pick it up and play it again. Speaking of, there it is. Let's just start with an attack for 2. See if this prompts a bolt. And we can Ephemerate. Nice. A little bit of extra value. Draw a card. And we're going to Glint Hawk. Actually, do we even need to pick up this Compass? I think I'll just pick up the Familiar. Draw another card. Because that seems like good value. There it is, Lembas. An Ancient Den, and I'll play a Lembas. If they get a Cast of the Fire and cast it out, that's okay. Another Familiar. Let's play that. Let's just go all in, draw a bunch of cards, and have a pretty fast clock here. And another Familiar. All right, things are looking good. Yeah, we got there. Things were looking rough at the start. Certainly that Tron match, I didn't play great necessarily, but also we had just an awful deck to play against them. Luckily, we paired into 2 Terror players, and this deck was really good against them. Mono Red, we didn't see as much Grim Bauble as I would have liked, but I do think Grim Bauble was good against Mono Red. We saw the Bauble, Glint Hawk Bauble at one point, which was pretty cool. It just picking off a Samurai or a Gorilla Shaman was pretty cool. And against Brood Scale, it was okay. We were able to kill the Brood Scale with Bauble, Glint Bauble, at least once. So I think it needs quite a bit more testing. If we ran up against more red or more fairies or any fairies or others, it might be okay. It's possible it's just not great in the meta right now. I do think it improves the deck, but maybe because of how the meta is, it's not great. I don't know. I do like this deck a lot. It's often quite fun. The fact that we were able to get there on that insane mono red game where the compasses really helped us fix our mana was really, really cool. And definitely a story to keep packed away. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.